am going to explain a case of what is called intestinal obstruction. What is intestinal obstruction? Intestinal obstruction is just a blockage of the normal function or passage of fecal matter in the bowels. So there are so many causes of fecal matter obstruction or things that can cause intestinal obstruction. So if you've got a physical barrier, like if you've got masses or growth inside the lumen of the bowels, they can actually cause or lead to intestinal obstruction. At the same time, when the nerves that actually supplies the bowels are not functioning well, they can also cause hypomotility, and they can also cause a blockage or a barrier. Other things that can also cause obstruction is intussusception, at the same time volvulus. So in this context, I'm not going to dwell more on these different types of things that can actually cause intestinal obstruction, but I'm going to discuss on intestinal obstruction as a case on its own. So what we are seeing here are the bowels. You can actually appreciate that these bowels are very much distended. This is fecal matter that you are seeing here. So this is a very distended bowel. You can actually appreciate that there is no motion that we are seeing here. So this is an aperistalsis bowel. There is no bowel movement that we are seeing here. So if you see this, you must realize that you're dealing with a case that is to do with intestinal obstruction. The bowels are not moving. At times it's very difficult for you to come to the conclusion of the cause of the physical barrier or something that is causing the obstruction. You can just need to report on the case as a case of intestinal obstruction, but there are times during which you can actually visualize a barrier that will be causing the obstruction. So from this end, you can actually appreciate that in between the bowels we can see some free fluid with anechoic here. So this free fluid that we see in between the bowels is what we call the Tanger sign. So a Tanger sign is an indicator of small bowel obstruction. So you can appreciate it. This is our Tanger sign. This is our free fluid in between the bowels. So using a different grain scale, you can actually appreciate that this bowel is greatly distended. At the same time, you cannot appreciate bowel movement. So this is aperistalsis, aperistaltic bowel. There is no bowel movement that you can appreciate from this. So this is a case of bowel obstruction. So if you look at the end here, you can actually see that there's some free fluid in there too, which is consistent with our Tanger sign. So from this end again, you can actually see these are the bowels that are distended, and you can actually see this fecal matter here. You can see this free fluid here that you can appreciate here. At times you can also see what is called the keyboard sign. However, in this it's not all that prominent. It can also be an indicator of bowel obstruction. So the converters of the small bowels can actually present as what you call the keyboard sign. So at the beginning of this video, you can actually see there's a bit of that keyboard sign that is coming. I hope you're appreciating it. If you come here, you can see there is a prominent keyboard sign that you're seeing there, which is also an indicator of bowel obstruction. So here you can actually appreciate that the bowel is actually very bulky here, and you can appreciate the hell lot of free fluid in between the bowels here. This is what I am referring to as our Tanger sign, which is an indicator of small bowel obstruction. So if the obstruction is caused by the nerves which are not functioning well, that is what we call the Hirschsprung's disease, of which in this case, and I couldn't tell from the image that we have if it was Hirschsprung's condition or not. All I can say is this is a case of a small bowel obstruction from the signs, sonographic features that you are appreciating or that you are seeing. Coming here again, so beyond the physical barrier or beyond the obstruction, you can see collapsed bowels, but in this case you can actually see these bowels, they are distended, meaning to say this is proximal to the proximal bowel before the obstruction. So you can see this, can appreciate these bowels are very much enlarged, and you can actually see the gut sign here, the gut sign here, to suggest that these are the bowels, just like that. So at the beginning of this clip, you can actually see that there's some air there, which are seen by this reverberation artifact. So at the beginning of the clip, you can see there is this line that which we see here. This is consistent with what is called a reverberation, which is an air artifact in the bowel. So you can actually appreciate again from this end that beyond the obstruction, our bowels have actually collapsed. So this is bowel collapse. This is bowel collapse. So you can appreciate that the bowels have collapsed here. We don't see an obstruction. So this can actually be a sign that we can actually use to identify the exact site of obstruction. So if you follow the bowels using your scan or your probe, you can, where you come at the point where the bowel suddenly collapse, you can actually then tell that is where the obstruction is. Again, you can see what is happening here. You can see the mesentery here, and you can see the free fluid in between the bowels in the peritoneal space, which is consistent with my Tanga sign. I thank you all for your time. I hope you're enjoying our videos. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos. Also share our videos so that we can share this information nationally for the better practice of medical ultrasound. Thank you.